Have you ever stopped to really look at a teleport waypoint? I mean, really look at it. For most of us, they're just part of the furniture of Teyvat. They're the backbone of our gameplay loop. We run, we glide, we fight, and then we instantly zap across the map to turn in a commission or fight a boss. We use them dozens of times a day without a second thought. They're ancient, they're convenient, and they're everywhere. But what if they're more than just magical ancient gimmicks? What if the key to the traveler's greatest mysteries, our own lost power, and the very origin of Teyvat's current world order has been staring us in the face this entire time, humming quietly on a cliffside? Today we're diving deep into one of the most compelling theories in Genshin Impact, the idea that the teleport waypoints are not native to this world at all, that they are in fact pieces of lost alien technology, our technology. Let's start with the most obvious clues, the ones the game gives us directly. Pull up the in-game description for a teleport waypoint. It reads, odd devices that are scattered across Teyvat, seemingly forming a certain order. People on the continent see them as ancient gimmicks. They're accustomed to their existence despite not knowing their purpose. To the foreign traveler, however, their function becomes quite apparent. Let's break that down. First, the people of Teyvat have no idea what they are. They're just weird lawn ornaments that have always been there. But to us, the foreign traveler, their function is immediately obvious. This is a crucial distinction. Think about it. Anyone in Teyvat can draw power from a statue of the Seven. Anyone can walk into a domain of mastery. But the waypoints? They only respond to us. It's a technology that is uniquely and instinctively understandable to the traveler. Why? The simplest answer is usually the correct one, because it's our technology. It feels familiar to us because it's built on the same principles as the power we once used to traverse entire universes. Now look at the design. The white, gold, and blue-black motifs, the geometric, almost crystalline structures. They bear a striking resemblance to the brief glimpses we see of the traveler's own power and their wings. This isn't just a coincidence. In a game as deliberately designed, Genshin visual language is everything. These devices are visually coded to be linked to us. So if they are our technology, how did they get here? This is where the theories start to branch out. One popular idea revolves around our lost sibling. We know the Abyss Twin woke up long before we did and traveled all across Teyvat. What if, during that first journey, they were the ones who activated or perhaps even placed these waypoints? It would explain everything. They would have set up a fast travel network for their own use, and when we finally woke up and started our journey, we could innately access it because it was keyed to our unique biological or energetic signature. The entire network could be a trail of breadcrumbs left for us by our own sibling, a path they laid down that we are now fated to follow. But what if the origin of these waypoints is even older and more profound? What if they're connected to the very creation of modern Teyvat? This brings us to one of the deepest and most fascinating figures in Genshin's lore, the Primordial One. As the lore expands, the chances that the travelers and the Primordial One come from the same civilization are looking more and more likely. We know the Primordial One was an outsider who came to Teyvat, defeated the 7 dragon sovereigns, and created the human race and the world as we know it. Phanes was, in essence, the first descender. If Phanes came from the same advanced spacefaring civilization as us, it stands to reason they would have used similar technology. Now consider this, the waypoints are always located on or above ley lines. We know from the game that the ley lines are the roots of the Irminsul, a sort of planet-wide memory bank. But the lorebook Before Sun and Moon tells us about a time before the Irminsul, a time of the dragon sovereigns and the first world created by Phanes. What if the Primordial One, upon arriving in Teyvat, deployed this network of waypoints as a foundational grid across the planet, a way to establish control and allow for rapid movement across their new domain? The Irminsul might have come later, its roots naturally growing along this pre-existing energy network, intertwining with this alien technology until they became inseparable. This would mean the waypoints are not just ancient, they're one of the oldest and most fundamental structures in the world, a remnant of the very first descender. They could even be parts of his own ship or technology, reverse engineered by his followers to allow for travel across the world, a pale imitation of his ability to travel the universe. This idea of different versions of the same technology gets even more interesting when we bring in our sibling. Think about the travel methods we see in the game. It's almost like there are 3 tiers of the same core technology: a pure form, a corrupted form, and the original ultimate form. First, you have the waypoints themselves. This is the light, or pure version, a stable, grounded network that allows for instantaneous point-to-point travel across the planet's surface. It's clean, efficient, and aligns with the celestial, orderly aesthetic of the Travelers and the Primordial One. Second, you have the Abyss Twins method of travel, the Abyssal Rifts. During the Chasm quests, Paimon herself remarks that these dark portals seem to work just like teleport waypoints. Dainsleif then explains that they aren't just simple point A to point B portals, but are connected to an entire network that twists through the abyss. This sounds like a corrupted, unstable version of the Waypoint network. The same fundamental technology, but twisted and warped by the abyssal energy. It's chaotic, unpredictable, and thematically opposed to the orderly waypoints. This creates a fascinating parallel. We, the Traveler, are reconnecting the light network. Our Sibling is mastering and expanding the dark network, which brings us to the third and original form, our spaceship, the power to traverse the sea of stars. Both the waypoints and the abyssal rifts are just planetary, limited versions of our true, original power. They are the shattered remains of what we once were. Our journey to resonate with every waypoint could be seen as a mission to recalibrate ourselves to this planet-bound network, slowly regaining the knowledge and energy needed to one day restore our true interstellar travel capabilities. This dichotomy has led the community to draw some amazing parallels, most notably with the game StarCraft. It's almost too perfect. Our Traveler is like Artemis, the leader of the Protoss, a noble race of highly advanced light-wielding aliens. The Traveler is slowly learning to wield both the power of light and the power of the Abyss, just as Artemis learned to integrate the powers of the Dark Templar. Meanwhile, the Abyss Twin is becoming a perfect parallel to Kerrigan, the Queen of Blades, a once noble individual who was captured and corrupted, eventually taking full control of the Zerg Swarm, an all-consuming, hive-minded force, much like the Abyss and its monsters. Following this path, the ending of Genshin did see us confronting our Sibling, who has become the absolute authority of the Abyss, in a final epic confrontation. My life for Ayur indeed. Of course, there's one giant glaring hole in all of this, the gameplay versus lore problem. If we have the incredible power of instantaneous teleportation, why does the story constantly ignore it? How many quests have involved characters saying, "We have to hurry, we'll never make it in time," or "We're trapped in this location," while we, the player, are screaming at the screen, "I have 50 teleporters unlocked, I can be there in 5 seconds." The weird thing about trying to fit waypoints into the lore is that they are hardly ever acknowledged in the story. They exist as a mechanic, but not as a narrative tool. There are a few ways to explain this. The boring answer is that it's just a gameplay concession, and we're not supposed to think about it. Another possibility is that from an NPC's perspective, our teleportation is so bizarre and instantaneous that it's not something they can comprehend or rely on. We just vanish and reappear elsewhere. It's our magic, not theirs. But the most likely answer is that the writers simply have to create artificial tension, and we as the audience just have to suspend our disbelief for the sake of the story. So, where does that leave us? All the evidence points in one direction. The shared aesthetics, the instinctive usability, the connection to the ley lines, and the parallel with the abyssal rifts suggest that the teleport waypoints are not of Teyvat at all. They are in fact pieces of lost alien technology, our technology. Our grand quest across the 7 nations, activating every single one of these ancient devices, might be more than just a journey to find our twin. It might be the process of rebooting a planetary network, realigning our own fragmented power, and piecing together the key to finally leaving this world and returning home. The greatest secret in Genshin Impact isn't hidden in some lost tomb. It's the technology we've been using every single day.